Everybody hold on to your ninja headbands because Sai might have just cracked the case about who the snitch is working with Boruto. That's right, in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 27, the man who was trained by Danzo himself, the artist formerly known as being emotionally dead, might have just figured out who's been secretly helping Boruto right underneath everybody's noses. And get this, he doesn't even need the Yamanaka clan sensory network to do it. Instead, he just looked at Konohamaru's face. That's right, people. Konohamaru was finally useful. Apparently, Sai can detect lies, the same way that Sada detects the emotional damage in Kawaki's logic. But the deeper you look into this scene, the cruel irony appears. The family connections, Sai's hidden moral conflict, the more it becomes clear. This isn't just a detective subplot by Sai, it's a mirror to the adulthood struggles of Naruto's entire generation, duty versus family, loyalty versus truth, and sometimes protecting your loved ones means betraying your own values. So grab a seat because this is the Sai family betrayal arc, and oh boy, it's about to get awkward in today's newest Naruto Explained video where your OBC, your original Boruto chief, not only looks at Sai's dilemma, but also how this is setting up one huge lesson that spawns across 3 generations of fans of the Naruto franchise, 4 if you count the Gen X viewers of this channel. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to check out the chapter review, which will be linked in the description box and the end credits, as well as my new My Dress Up Darling video from my Anime Explained channel, where I discuss non-Naruto anime and manga, which will also be linked for your convenience. So let's get right to it. The setup. Sai is basically searching for Boruto's ally as we see him in these chapters. Now, in the chapter 27, we see Sai, and he's sitting beside Kobu, the assistant of the feudal lord for the Lane of Fire. His mission is to help Kobu find the snitch who's working with Boruto. Kobu has basically been running his own version of a true crime podcast, only instead of DNA evidence, he's now analyzing vibes, and it's not going too great for him because when it comes to his suspects, the first person he turns to is Konohamaru. And let's just say it's kind of cruelly accurate of the assessment he gives Konohamaru. Kobu looks at him and basically says, nah, this dude's too dumb to pull off any type of espionage. If anything, he basically get himself caught. He's probably being used and doesn't even realize it. And honestly, tell me he's wrong here. Konohamaru's gotten stronger, but has Konohamaru ever been the smartest guy in the room? I don't think so. Konohamaru's the same guy who once challenged Jigen to a fight, and he had nothing but optimism. Did the same thing with Ishiki. This time he used a Rasengan, and Konohamaru had to be saved by Naruto. That's like trying to fight Madara with nothing more than a motivational poster. It's not gonna work, not unless that poster happens to be Hashirama Senju. So yeah, poor Konohamaru, he's getting dismissed by Kobu as being too stupid to be the traitor, but that's when Sai notices something. Sai is very suspicious all of a sudden in the chapter. In a classic subtle Anbu blackout fashion, Sai doesn't say a word. My man's just looking. He sees that something's off. A flicker in Konohamaru's expression is faint, but he catches it. Maybe it's the slight tension in the jaw. Maybe it's the eyes darting a bit too quickly after Kobu finishes his line of interrogation. Sai's entire childhood under Danzo, it was built on reading deception, how to see through masks, how to detect hesitation, how to sense a lie even when it's warped in loyalty, even when it is being masked by bits of the truth. And that's what he's picking up here. Konohamaru might not be a mastermind. Nobody's accusing him of being a mastermind. But one thing we do know about him is that my man is fiercely loyal, and that loyalty makes people do some dumb things. Sai realizes there's a chance Konohamaru might not be lying for himself, but instead for someone else. And the way that Sai's drawn, you better believe he's starting to think, wait a second, is he working with the sensory unit? And that's when you realize Sai, he's starting to connect the dots between potentially his wife, his son, somebody from the clan inside the sensory unit. He doesn't know who it is, but he knows somebody is working with Konohamaru. He knows Konohamaru is in possession of more information than he's letting on during their interrogation. Now, that brings me to the Yamanaka clan connection. So remember, Ino was helping Shikamaru before she pulled the plug, basically saying, Hey fam, you're not ordering me as Hokage, so I am totally done. Translation, if this shit goes south, you're taking the blame, not me. And honestly, can you really blame her given the effects of omnipotence? And just take it a step further. Can we talk about how Ino is suddenly loyal until the plot demands otherwise? Because one thing we're starting to see here is that in Konoha, these females ain't loyal. Not unless they're Hinata and Sakura. Ino straight up ghosted Shikamaru like a bad Tinder date with moral boundaries. But guess who did not get the memo? Yamanaka. Ino, as far as we know, never told him that she was helping Shikamaru. So right now, Sai is sitting in the room trying to figure out who the snitch is, not realizing this man's entire household might be the snitch he's looking for. So while Ino bailed and thought, okay, I've protected my clan because I can argue I did everything before because the Hokage asked me, but now once I asked him for clarification, I backed out of it. Well, their son Inojin basically picked up where she left off. He's the one who's been connecting Shikamaru to Konohamaru, and he's been doing it in secret, off the record, because he's trying to protect Himawari. So yeah, this is basically a full-blown family operation, and poor Sai, he's completely out the loop. And when you think about it, history's truly repeating itself. First, Team 7, they left Sai out the Kaguya fight. Sasuke basically kept everybody else inside the Susanoo, didn't even bother because he said, why do you need bootleg Sasuke when you got the real Sasuke right here? Now, his own family, they're leaving him out of their own helping of Shikamaru. This man can't catch a break. This dude's living in the world's most tragic group chat exclusion. And that brings me to the Sai Sussy Baka situation, which that's where we're at right now. So things are gonna get really fun and a lot darker. Sai has been suspiciously quiet since Amado gave that speech in chapter 5 about everyone's memories being altered. If you think about it, he asked Shikamaru one question. Do you have any thoughts? What are your thoughts about what they're saying? That's it. No follow-up, no commentary, nothing. You would think, hearing somebody like Amado say, yeah, everybody's memories got switched. I figured this out. You know that Amado lies and only tells the truth when it benefits him. Probably knew he was being recorded. And Sai doesn't follow up on anything else. He's like, Hokage, what are your thoughts? Either Sai got dumber during the time skip, or Sai already has a plan, or Sai, like Ino, didn't know what to think of it, so he just waited for more information. We have no idea where Sai falls on this matter. We don't know if Ino told him about helping Shikamaru. Does he secretly know Boruto's truth? Does he believe what Amado said, or has he been playing it cool this entire time, basically becoming the world's most stoic Sussy Baka? Because if Sai really wanted to, he could crack this entire case open. As a former Anbu, raised under Danzo, as the guy who runs the Anbu Black Ops now, he'd know exactly where to look when you think about it. The Yamanaka clan's communication logs. Every transmission that the sensor unit has is supposed to be monitored. But as we know, not all of them are recorded, and that's the key. The story has been laying it on thick. Hey, we're not supposed to do communications off record. If it's off record, how do people get caught? There has to be a way for them to figure out when communications have happened off record. That might be a key. Sai, being married to Ino, probably knows the way to check for off-the-record telepathic links using that mind transmission jutsu, because as a reminder, that mind transmission jutsu, mind destruction jutsu, mind transfer jutsu, none of those are Kekkei Genkai. They're hidden jutsu. You can make the argument that just as Shikamaru taught Tamari the mechanics of the shadow possession jutsu in that Boruto movie novel, which is written based off of the script that Kishimoto did because Tamari helped Shikamaru and Shikadai come up with that jutsu that Shikadai used on Boruto, where he expanded the shadow possession as a circle. You can argue, even if Ino did not teach Sai how to perform that jutsu, she told Sai enough stuff on how to do the mechanics, because Sai, as we know in Naruto chapter 700, was there for Inojin's training. So the idea that he knows enough of the mechanics of the jutsu, maybe not how to perform it, but knows mechanics themselves, that's not crazy, which means that he would know how to check for logs. That's the kind of thing that only family members would be able to pull off without triggering alarms, because Sai technically is part of that clan now. So imagine Sai sitting in his dark little office, scrolling through encrypted psychic transmission, realizing that that frequency pattern might match his own son's chakra signature. Because, you know, they got different things they can do to monitor stuff. This is the Boruto era. They got technology for all this shit. So the moment of realization for Sai, it could be brutal. And that brings me to the potential double agent arc for Sai. Don't get your hopes up. This is merely a question, but I'm not saying the guy's gonna be a full-blown double agent. So this is where the writing could get very juicy. Sai is the perfect candidate for a double agent arc. At first, he's helping Kobu. He's interrogating shinobi. He's analyzing body language, basically being the human lie detector that he was trained to be. If I'm Kobu and I gotta investigate people, I'd want Sai there too for that reason. But once he realizes the person helping Boruto might be his own family, that's where everything changes. Now it's not about finding the traitor. Now it's about protecting the truth and protecting the people that he loves. Sai could start secretly feeding Kobu false intel. Maybe he ends up throwing suspicion towards someone else just to buy time. Go ahead and throw Kiba under the bus. Nobody gives a damn about Kiba in Boruto. So say Kiba is the snitch. Maybe he leads him on a false trail elsewhere. Maybe he manipulates the transmission logs that are missing gaps that might be there. Because again, for Ino and Inojin to keep stressing that off the books transmissions are forbidden, there has to be a way to catch people that have done that. And with Inojin being a child, you better believe there might be a way that Inojin might have slipped up. That's the kind of moral gray zone that Sai fits into perfectly, and it builds on his character arc from when we're first introduced to him in Naruto Part 2. Because remember, Naruto, he was the one who gave Sai a purpose. Naruto basically helped the guy get back in touch with his humanity, how to start valuing bonds over orders. So now, the man who once lived under Danzo's rule as emotion is a weakness, he has to decide between his duty to the village that Naruto helped lead into this peaceful era and his duty to the very family that Naruto was basically responsible for him creating. Because had not Naruto broken through and appealed to Sai's humanity during that Tenchi Bridge arc, Sai and Ino never would have been a thing, and Inojin would not even exist right now. And that's truly heartbreaking when you think about it. And that brings me to the beauty of Sai's inner conflict. So to understand this, we have to unpack one of the best written potential arcs for any Naruto era character. Yes, I'm going there. Sai's dilemma is pure adulthood in motion. He is a man who's torn between systems. He's torn between souls, between a structure that demands loyalty and a family that requires compassion. If he exposes Inojin and Ino, he betrays his wife and his son. But if he hides the truth, he's betraying the village. And for Sai, that's not just political. It's a personal redemption that is colliding with his own personal responsibility. Longtime viewers of the channel have heard me say this repeatedly. Every story has conflict. This ain't just conflict. This is a full 8-course meal of conflict. For older friends, so millennials who grew up watching Naruto and aged alongside Naruto's generations, that being like everybody from Naruto down to Konohamaru and Hanabi, because they're 4 to 5 years younger than Naruto and Sasuke. So basically my generation, this hits different because it mirrors our own reality for a lot of us. We grew up alongside these characters. We were chasing our dreams and our ideals. I've talked about it in the past. Seeing how someone like Kakashi was able to navigate through some of the losses he had helped me through some of the darker periods in my life. We're now watching these characters navigate a moral compass, politics, and messy family loyalties if this is the direction it goes at Sai. And basically, that is adulthood. It's realizing that people you love might be on the wrong side of something and choosing whether to expose them or to protect them anyway. And it's not just millennials who they have a message for. This story also, should it go this route, also has a generational message for the generations behind mine, which are Gen Z and Gen Alpha. So for the newer generations, Gen Z, so that's like people born, I believe 1997 up to 2012, and then Gen Alpha is like 2013 up to now. This arc, it serves as a masterclass in moral ambiguity. Not every decision has a good guy or a bad guy choice that you have to make from. Life is not like anime. There's a lot of gray zone areas that you're going to run into. Sometimes the hero's path means protecting a lie, because the truth will destroy something far more important. It's one of the reasons why on my Anime Explained channel, I really love covering Oshinoko while I did, because sometimes a lie can be a form of love. If you look at it from a black and white perspective, that seems contradictory. But again, people live in that gray area. Sometimes the truth hurts more than a lie. Sometimes you can only protect people by telling a lie. That's what Sai represents right now. The evolution of a shinobi spirit. Shinobi at their core are meant to deceive. He's not a shinobi anymore, just in terms of his only identity. He's no longer just a tool the way that Danzo wanted him to be. He's now a husband. He's now a father. He is a man carrying the weight of legacy and lies all at the same time. And the irony, the same man that was trained to erase emotion now has to use emotion, love, loyalty, guilt to potentially make the hardest choice of his life. So whether he ends up betraying Kobu, ends up aiding Boruto because he knows that Shikamaru is working with him, or he ends up finding a way to split the baby and protect his family from any fallout, Sai's arc might quietly become the most mature, the most grounded of the Naruto generation in the Boruto 2 Blue Vortex era, because at the end of the day, this isn't just about espionage. It's also about empathy, a word that in modern day times is really starting to lose its meaning. And that's why Sai's quiet suspicion in chapter 27 might be the start of something huge. Sai isn't just hunting a traitor. He's also in a position where he might have to learn and discover what loyalty truly costs. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, clicking here on the left for that chapter review, or click here on the right for that My Dress Up Darling video that I mentioned earlier. And no Konohamarus were harmed in the process of making this video. I'm throwing the Konohamaru jabs because I got a longtime subscriber who was like, "You always make fun of Konohamaru," and I'm like, I have not made fun of him in a really long time, so we are long overdue.